If you are trying to create change in your life, doesn't matter what kind of change, but without fail, no matter what you do, something always derails you. Maybe you're trying to lose weight and someone always offers you a piece of cake at just the wrong time. Or you're trying to get your finances on track, but then all of a sudden there's this random purchase that you have to make that just comes up and derails that. Maybe you are trying to create more room in your schedule, but someone from church always calls you and says, we've got this spot that we really need filled, and you're the perfect person for the job. If this is you, where no matter what you do, you put the effort out, you do the right stuff, like you know what you're supposed to do, and you do it, and you start to see success, and then something comes up to just take you out and throw you right back where you started, there's a really good chance that what you need is not more information. You don't need to just keep pushing yourself harder. What you need is to actually understand what is going on beneath the surface that is guaranteeing you that you will never succeed no matter how hard you try. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. And once you see it, you will very likely find that the change starts to come faster and easier than you ever thought possible. Before I move on though, I want to invite you to grab the burnout diagnostic in the description below this video. And if you are answering yes to 4 or more of the questions, then you know that you have a problem that you need to solve, where you got to just stop saying, this is just part of being a Christian. It's just part of life. It's just how it works. Instead, you know you have a problem and something needs to be done before you burn out and pay the big price for the people pleasing that we sometimes fall into and we don't even realize it. So again, you can grab that in the description below this video. Okay, so there's one concept that I really want to make sure that gets across right off the bat, is that we as children learn to, even if we come from very loving families, we at some point, if you do not have a healthy sense of self, then at some point you learned to pretty much say, I need you, my parent, my caretaker, whoever it is that took care of you and that raised you, you needed them to take care of you. And so if they were frustrated with parts of who you are, or if they just even in loving ways trained you and taught you how to live life, they might have ended up kind of chiseling away parts of who you are, and you learned that it's safer, and that because you need to belong. So basically you learned that it was safer to just let go of your preferences or of the things that bothered you, and you learned how to do it in a way that basically said, I need you to take care of me, so I will become whoever I need to be for you. So basically the commitment is, if you take care of me, I will be whoever you want me to be for you. And the problem is that we don't realize we're doing this. Like, I wish we did, but we don't. And we bring this into the rest of our life, where we are constantly learning to become whoever we need to be. And I've been painfully aware of this, where I'm like, no, I've got a, like, I know who I am, and I'm growing in confidence. But I've realized just how much I'm like, wow, I am constantly like, it's unspoken, but I'm constantly asking other people, like, who do you want me to be, and how do I fit in this group, and what do I need to, just tone down about myself, or do I need to be loud? Do I need to be quiet? Who am I supposed to be in order to fit in? Because as humans, God made us with this very strong need and drive to belong. And it's a huge safety thing. It's how we're wired. And if we aren't aware of it, it can cause a whole lot of chaos in our life. So basically, what we end up coming, or the thing that we end up saying, is that either I can succeed or I can belong. So if we grew up being like just learning over time that we can either succeed in life or succeed at certain things. Like, there might be some things you're allowed to succeed at, but other things you're supposed to just struggle in. It's like the family agreement that we're just going to struggle in this and this area. But basically it's like, if you either can succeed or I can feel safe and I can belong. And if it's an either or thing that you grew up with, success in anything is going to become impossible. You might be like, I'm a mom and I just want to enjoy my kids and I want to slow down a little bit and not be busy all the time. That's something that you're wanting to succeed at. So by success, I'm not saying like you got to go out and start a business and be, do something huge that everyone sees. You might just say, I want to like just figure out food and enjoy cooking and making good food for my family. It can be really small things, but depending on your unspoken agreements that you have made with people, you may not be able to succeed in the way that you are really trying hard to succeed in. And or not, yes, not sorry, I said that a little funny. So again, it's pretty much we're saying we grew up learning that either I can succeed in this thing or I can belong. And if it's an either or, you're always in the end going to choose belonging. What we want to do is we want to bring those things together so that you can learn how to succeed and how to belong and to love and be loved by the people around you. So, okay, so I'm going to share a story about our imaginary friend, Sally. So Sally grew up in a home where all the women in the family struggled with their weight, and some hated it, some were totally fine with it. But overall, through her growing up years, it was the family thing to just own it. Like they weren't just like frustrated and always trying to fix it. They're like, this is who we are, and we're just going to own it and be confident in it. And so it became the family thing that is like, this was just part of their family culture and of who they were as women in the family. And so into her 20s, she, because she was one of the ones who she owned it because she felt like she was supposed to, but she didn't want to. And so she started to work on changing it. So whether it was going to the gym or researching or figuring out her eating or throwing away all the junk food and buying healthy food, like she figured it out and she started to see a lot of success very, very quickly. But without fail, someone would offer her a piece of cake, or someone would just like these little moments would happen where before she knew it, she like the weight she'd do all the work and the weight would fall off. And then something would happen that would derail her and the weight would just come back on. And so for years, she went through this up and down cycle where she would gain the weight and then she would lose it. But every time she'd lose it, something would happen. And without fail, she would just gain the weight again. And that kind of dynamic playing out is very confusing because it's like, okay, I know what to do. I'm putting in the work. Why does something always happen? So the problem is it's not the piece of cake that someone hands to her. It's basically that piece of cake in that moment when you can look at something and say, oh, well, this happened and it totally derailed me. Maybe you're trying to change your spending, but there's something on Amazon that you just need, or there's some random expense that comes up and you don't have a choice and you have to pay for it. That kind of stuff, we look at those things and it's like, well, I guess that's just how the world works and I'm just not going to be able to succeed. But what's really going on the inside, or this is one of the things that might be going on for you, is that, so for Sally, that piece of cake was what she was internally. She is desperately looking for because she needed something to help her run back to her place of safety. Because again, either what she grew up learning was that either I can succeed at losing weight and not belong, or I can just accept that I am who I am. There's nothing I can do to change like anything physically, but in that place I'm safe and I belong and I know who my people are. Okay, so this is the kind of thing that once you see it, you can't unsee it. And when this is not an invitation to go and like hyperanalyze everyone else, right? This is for you to help you see what's actually going on in your life. Because for you, whatever that piece of cake is for you, when someone hands you a piece of cake and you're like, okay, you know what? I wasn't going to, but I'll have this one. And then 2 months go by and then you're like, oh man, like this always happens to me. Whatever that is for you, with whatever you're working towards and is derailing you, the thing is that piece of cake, it's just a piece of cake. It doesn't have the ability to derail you, but it's more what is going on the inside. Because if you are succeeding and that success is actually freaking you out, then that piece of cake brings a lot of relief, and putting the weight back on brings a lot of relief. Like, if you're trying to create room in your schedule, but you don't know how to actually have peace and space in your life, then something coming up is going to bring a lot of relief, because like, oh, okay, like I know how to play the chaotic game. I know how to do this, like frustrated. I'm so upset with what's going on, and I want peace and I want room in my schedule, but if our safety zone, if where we belong is in a culture of chaos, or a culture of, we all connect on the fact that we all strive in life, but nothing actually works out, then that you're going to be like internally super happy when something comes up and derails you. So again, if you are listening, like if you maybe you're aware of how much you're hearing other people's voices in your heads, because that's a huge part of all this. Or maybe you're just kind of beginning to realize how much you hear other people's voices in your heads, then grab the burnout diagnostic in the description below. Because that's another one of those things that starts to show up, that it's like, wow, I'm constantly concerned with what my mom is going to think of this, or what my friend is going to think of this, or what my church group is thinking of this. Just as a side note, I remember when I went to school to become a coach, I was about 3 months in, and all I could think about was a group. Like, it's like I would go to sleep, I would wake up, I would go throughout my day, like I'm in school online to become a coach, but all I can think about was this group of people that had nothing to do with coaching. And so it's like, what is going on? And why is it that I'm so concerned with what they think about this? And why do I feel so torn inside? And that too, where it was like, I wanted to derail myself because I didn't realize it, but it was like, I felt so torn because I had given a lot of my, kind of like, it was like I had ended up looking to this group of people as like, they're the ones who have life right. And so I just need to figure out how to do life their way. But I wasn't doing it their way, because it's like externally, I didn't want to do it, but internally I felt like I should. And for Christians, this is a really big struggle, because it's not just a question of what do my parents think about me? It's like, this is, what does God think about me? And so when we start to put what God thinks of us on other people, that brings a whole nother level of confusion and frustration to all of this. Okay, so moving forward, the question that we're asking is like, so, if we're taking this idea of that you grew up thinking that either you can succeed or you can belong, what we want to do is, like, I think sometimes if that's our mindset, then it feels like, oh, well, if I have to choose one or the other, how in the world do I choose that? And I guess maybe I just have to choose, like, I just have to figure out how to succeed and not care about belonging. We don't want to do that. So please don't, like, what we want to do is develop a both and mentality, not an either or. So we're looking at how can we both succeed at the thing that we're working on, and also belong and feel safe, and to love and show love for the people that we care about. And so, like, for Sally, it would look like saying, you know what? I have totally, this is how I have fit in with my family, but I'm choosing not to do that anymore. So I'm going to I'm going to stick to what I know to do, because it's working. And when someone offers me a piece of cake, either I'm going to kindly decline, or I'm going to have it and not let it derail me anymore. And the way that I'm going to show love for my family is to look at them in the eyes and say, I love you. I care about you. You matter so much to me. You can learn their love language and like actually show or act on what you know about them that they care about. I think, for us, instead of being upset with the people around us, there's a timer. Instead of being upset at the people around us and wishing that they would change, or that they would give us permission to change, it's sometimes for us to learn that okay, I'm the one who's been holding myself back because I'm so afraid of what they're going to think of me, or I'm so afraid of losing what I've had with them, even though you might hate your reality. You are so frustrated with the way that you feel, the way that your schedule is, the way that your finances are, the way that you are just like managing your home. There's so many things that frustrate us that we want to change. And yet those things that you're wanting to change might be the very things that you have found connection with the people that you care about. And this can happen with your friends. Again, it could happen with your church group. It could happen with your mom group where even for moms, where you might be in a group where it's like, okay, this is the group that is they're there for me, they care about me. And but the silent agreement is that we're all going to be really good moms, and our common struggle is that we're all going to be tired all the time. And so even there, it can feel like you're doing something wrong if you figure out how to not be tired because you're sick and tired of being tired all the time and trying to parent from a place of being tired. And so changing that can feel like, oh, I'm going to lose my place of safety and belonging. So learning to just identify it is so huge. And what you do, like when you look at those moments where if you're a tired mom and you're trying to change that, but something always comes up, or your kids are really restless and they wake up all the time, right? There's things you can do to actually help them sleep better. But if your place of safety and belonging is that you connect with other moms based on how tired you all are, your kids being sleepless and restless and getting up 10 times during the night is going to serve that way. Like it's going to be the thing that gives you, it's like, oh, right, this is like, I hate this, but this is how I belong. And so the process then is learning to actually like stick to what you want to do. I think, okay, so for me, I've had to actually learn how to say, like, making videos is not the most comfortable thing in the world. And I still to this day, but especially kind of like early on for my first probably 50, 60 videos, I had to learn how to say, I'm making a video and I know I'm going to be uncomfortable the entire, I get comfortable the more I talk, but that I had to just accept the fact that I'm making the choice I want to make. And I feel so uncomfortable doing it because we tend to, when we're uncomfortable or we have an emotion, we tend to, like my old habit would have been, I'm uncomfortable, I'm just going to go clean the house and not make a video. And then it's like, oh, bummer, another day went by and I didn't get around to making a video because the house was a mess. And so it's just like the nuanced dance that we all dance depending on our comfort zone and where the way that we perceive the world and how we grew up and just like all these different things is, or even, you might have a church group where that you all are like, everyone wants everyone to succeed and to follow God wherever he's calling them. And yet there might still be the silent agreement where it's like, but you're supposed to kind of always struggle and always stay stuck, kind of like know what he's called you to do, but never actually figure out how to do it. And so just again, becoming aware of this is the first step, because if you can see it, then you can kind of learn how to watch yourself and say like, oh, okay, this is what happens. Like I'm feeling this thing or that thing just happened. And in the past, I would totally say, oh, great, this is happening again. This is just how life works. Whereas now you can say, I see it coming. I see it happening. I'm feeling the emotion. I'm going to make this choice instead of falling back into the old habit. And it really is that simple. I think there's part of me that wants to be like almost overcomplicate it, but it is just learning how to pause and how to stop saying, well, someone handed me a piece of cake, and if they hadn't done that, I would have been on track. It's like, no, you would have found something else. But it's just learning to see that piece of cake being handed to you, the old pattern that you are so tempted to fall back into, realizing, okay, this would make me I would be more comfortable being stuck. I think for a lot of us, we just have to realize like when we get stuck, when we fall back into old patterns, into the struggles that we want to get out of our lives, it's comforting. It's weirdly more comforting for us to be stuck than for us to succeed. And so instead of you pushing yourself harder and trying harder and feeling like it, I mean, especially for a lot of us, if we're talking to God about these things, it feels like why won't he help us? And why isn't something changing? And yet he could open up every door for you and you still wouldn't walk through it if you have this, either I can succeed or I can belong. Because at the end of the day, we are wired to choose belonging. So now your homework is to figure out how to actively show people, like love people the way that the love, safety, and belonging. Show people that you love them and learn to receive love from other people in healthier ways, where you're actually choosing how you're going to do it versus saying, I'm going to stay stuck in this problem and that's how I show you I love you. It's like, we've got to learn how to say, I'm no longer going to stay stuck in this problem and I'm still going to love you. And I'm still like where you're actively working out that piece. If you can work out this piece for you, I'm like 100% convinced that you're going to see a lot of those outward things. Because if you can learn how to ride that wave of whatever it is for you that derails you, whatever you're working towards and whatever that thing is that always derails you, if you can learn to just navigate that little speed bump, you're going to see a huge change. And then the next time it happens, if you can navigate that speed bump, eventually those little things that take, like, they're big, but it's usually a small moment that takes us out. If you can learn how to overcome those moments, then the change that you're wanting to create becomes so much easier. But it's also that you need to learn how to create change in your life in a way that makes you feel safe and connected with people and with God. Because again, like I keep saying, if it's one or the other, you are always going to choose belonging. Okay, that is all. If this is helpful for you, let me know in the comments below. If you've had like a wow moment, if you know what it is that derails you, let me know in the comments below. And also remember to grab that burnout diagnostic in the description below. If you are aware that you're burning out, maybe you're kind of like, again, you've got a lot of other people's voices in your head and you are frustrated with life and you don't know what you enjoy, or even if I asked you, like, what do you enjoy in life? If you don't know the answer to that, or if you're not actively, if the things that matter to you are not an active part of your life, then you might find that you are living a life that is kind of pieced together by a bunch of other people. And that's not how you were made to live, and it is going to burn you out. So grab that burnout diagnostic in the description below this video. And lastly, remember to read your Bible, get lost in the story of God, and play your part, because you were made for so much more.